Hi, you guys. Welcome back to the I Did It First podcast. I'm Riley.
I'm Anna.
And we're here with our producer, Kenny.
What's up?
And today is a fun one.
So on top of all the awesome topics that we want to bring and talk about,
Yes,
so many of our conversations and real life insight is wildly inappropriate, super uncomfortable.
very.
And we wouldn't be truly authentic if we didn't make sure we bring some of that here.
Of course, because we want to share those conversations
Yes.
that we're having
And
off the mic.
yes, because to know us and to love us is to also sometimes be uncomfortable.
Yes. So I open with a question. This is actually a question that
I've actually thought about this way too much, to be quite honest.
and there's ways that you can like kind of hang your hat on and be like, okay, well, to what level, right? But would you rather fart or cry when you orgasm? And Kenny answered too.
Yeah. So this is something, when you first asked me this, and I thought it was easy. And then I thought, well, what if I turned out to be this like emotional crier that just started sobbing like a uncontrollably?
And is it like a little fart? That's for you too.
I mean,
What do you think?
What is the degree of that? Honestly, I think I'm still undecided.
What do you think?
I'm thinking like you'd need to know each one, like you're saying. Like I need to know like how, the severity of each
What
one.
if what if they were both just so extreme, like literally snot bubbles, crying, like and
like
you know when kids
like
go
possibly-
silent as they cry, and then you know
Yeah,
it's about to get
then
louder.
I'm going fart because I would be keeping my that extremity is far away from
That would just be like a
my
whatever.
girlfriend, right? That's
Yeah.
that extremity is far away from my girlfriend, as opposed to my face is somewhere closer to her
Yeah.
Yeah.
than that. So I would just go with that.
Fart.
Is what
See,
it is.
but I fear the extreme
Fart.
version of that, because the extreme version of that could be
You can be a smart fella or a fart smella.
Yeah, I guess but that depends on the I was just thinking the loudness was
True.
the extreme, so just a really loud one, okay. But I mean, now if we're just going, it stinks, then I mean, maybe I got to go to cry. But then
Yeah.
you're saying snot bubbles. I mean, we're just
Snot
in
bubbles, but then
Extremes.
also loud, stinky.
So would the equal be like almost a shart? Like that's
Oh gosh, like a fart that's gonna itch when it dries.
Ew.
Oh, see, that's too much. That's crazy. That's crazy. Then you have to go. I would say it's a more fun thing to think about if it's just average. An average, something that was reasonable. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Something reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, so middle of the
Reasonable.
road for both, I
Yeah,
guess.
middle of the road for both.
I
And
think
I'm going fart for my original reason.
Okay.
fart. I think cry.
I think cry.
Because also too, girls just don't.
And we already have that fear. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have you ever sat up too fast and maybe there was just too much air that went into your stomach already?
No, and you fart.
You
In
don't
what setting?
You don't fart.
A queef? Is
The
that what
air
you're
has
talking
to
about?
come back out.
Are you
If
talking about a
sit up
queef?
yeah, and you sit up too fast and you're like,
I
we're
don't-
already battling
I
that
think
anyway.
queefs are so funny. Oh, queefs are so funny because it's something
So we
that
can't do
I
both.
can.
I'd
People
have
can
to
do on
cry.
command. I can queef on command. And there's been a time when my boyfriend and I are just laying in bed and I have done it and we're just crying laughing. Also, too,
Special skills
One time-
under resume.
one time my boyfriend and I were having sex and he did fart. And I remember I asked him after, I was like, did you fart? And he's like, bro.
I'll never forget. I think I told you this. I read in a Cosmopolitan like early 2000s that supposedly, not that I ever was willing to give it a shot, but that supposedly if like you totally
Suddenly
relax
she's
and
setting
fart,
boundaries.
no, that
Okay.
it's supposed to intensify your orgasm.
If you fart.
And I'm like, who's figuring this out? You know,
If you relax your external anal sphincter.
and I thought, wow, that's an interesting fun fact that I'm not going to test. So
So that kind of brings us into today's topic, which, drum roll please, is the concept of post-nut clarity. And post-nut clarity is it has been a concept for a very long time.
Yes.
But my generation has been the ones to coin that term.
Put a really cute label on it.
Super cute.
You guys are so good at this. I always say.
PNC. And post-nut clarity, for those that don't know, is the emotional detachment that comes after someone orgasms. It's that what have I done moment, that spiritual awakening.
It's the clarity that comes to mind of decision making.
Yes. And there I have done research on it, and we'll have like a full circle back moment. But the reason that this post-nut clarity happens is because there is a neurochemistry shift that happens in your brain. And obviously hormones are chemicals that regulate our body and our mood and all of these things. And before someone orgasms, the brain is flooded with dopamine. And dopamine is that happy drug. It's that reward chemical. It's a neurotransmitter and a hormone, and it's working to communicate with your brain. And that is what ultimately drives motivation.
Yep.
Is dopamine.
Like when Tequila says, I'm a really good dancer.
But after you orgasm, those dopamine levels drop fast. It's that quick drop. And now your body is flooded with separate chemicals, and those chemicals being prolactin and oxytocin. Oxytocin influences stress and social behaviors like empathy and attachment. So I also think, quick note, post-nut clarity really only exists within hookup culture, because if you really love someone, you're not having this spiritual awakening of
clarifying
like literally
moment.
Get the fuck off of me. What did I just do? Rather, who did I just do? But there is science to back it up, and it is based on these hormones.
Well, and the funny part, it's like you said, it's
I
not
can make
new.
a hormone.
It's not new. I mean, even when you said, I think what shocked me is like the way you just explained it, like as if it was a novel idea.
Yes.
Because obviously this is not new.
No.
And it's just how the awareness of it, like we all know. And the funny thing is, like we've talked about, well, obviously we think men are walking around with a lot more clarity than women.
Yes, because post-nut clarity, it is equivalent to like blowing your nose.
Just get it out. Just
like you kind of just have to release that. And obviously it's something that men experience more than women, because men are finishing more than women, at least when they're hooking up.
It's easier for them.
It
Let's
is
be
easier
honest.
for them. So side note, an in for 2025 is girls getting their nut on.
Finishing more.
But
let's create more humans with clarity, mental clarity.
Yes. Let's clear sinuses, blow your nose. No, but it's so true. And post-nut clarity, it's because men think with their head.
Right. Little head.
Yeah, not the head on your shoulders, the head between your thighs. And by nature,
right,
this is what we were talking about. They are hunters. Men are hunters, and they're hungry.
They gotta eat.
They gotta eat. They will do and say just about anything to get you into bed or into the back of a car or wherever you fancy. Rather, wherever they fancy.
Right.
And the thing is, I think the mistake,
because they're thinking with that differently.
It is differently
Prior
because there's
to that,
literally
that's the
different
same-
chemicals that are driving that motivation and that hunt.
Right.
So I don't even know if they're necessarily aware. I don't even think it's even malicious.
No, I think it's like an
literally
innate desire. Like this is what they're made for.
Yes.
And the fact that we kind of researching the physiology behind it is what makes it so interesting to me. Because it's, we can say that it's all about this or, this is just what guys do. Like there's an actual chemical process to this.
is.
And so that's what I find so interesting.
So they are those hunters
Mm-hmm.
by nature, and they'll say and do just about anything. You get into bed, you hook up, and then suddenly the deed is done. That oxytocin is released, which influences their attachment styles and their empathy. and then you get kicked to the curb. You get zombied.
Right? Not ghosted.
Not ghosted. What I mean by zombied, and this is what I think we should refer to more than ghosting, is to be zombied is to get ghosted. But the thing is, when you get ghosted, they always come back from the dead. And they always reach out and like
They're
pick up.
looking to eat again.
They're looking to eat because they're hungry, and this cycle continues, and you're stupid. And I'm talking to myself, listener.
Yeah.
I've done this too, where I'm like, oh no, but he says that he really likes and wants to take me
Oh my
out.
gosh, yes. He had no service like 3
He
cities
was
over.
serving.
Yeah.
He was actually not in America.
Yeah. He was building homes in Calcutta.
No, bitch. He was in America. Unless the bitch he was fucking was named Paris. No, he was here.
Yeah.
Like, don't be fooled. And that's a mistake I've made. And that, like, a
for
lot of
sure.
women, like, you hang your hat on the words.
I think because we're all, like, I think this is where maybe we don't have, we walk around with that state of mind beforehand, looking for the connectivity.
That fogginess.
That fogginess. It's not our fault.
It's not our fault. We just need to blow our noses more.
We should. And I think we walk around just like in that fog, and we're willing and receptive kind of to whatever they say.
It's true, because everyone wants just compassion. I'm just a girl.
Just a girl.
I'm just a girl. But I remember I had a really close friend that I grew up with. I mean, forever. And we'll refer to him as CM.
Okay.
And CM, I mean, very smart, very successful. He really was. Like, anything he did, he fucking did it so well.
Yeah. Type A personality.
Very type A, just an overall good person. And he literally would swear. He'd be like, if I have an interview or a test or a date or all these important things that would typically cause me stress, I will, for lack of a better word, jack off. Because his decision making would be so impacted, and it would be so different, and he would think different, and that emotional attachment he wouldn't necessarily have to an interview or to like, he would just let it be what it is and then show up as his best self. Clear. His head, both heads would be clear.
That's crazy. And the fact that he figured this out like so
I remember
young.
he told me this too.
I mean, old enough to know and be
I'm
able
like,
to, but just young.
because that is so fucking smart.
That's crazy.
That's really smart. But that is something that you honestly have to think like a man. And that is something that I've put into practice because it's true. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's
real though. Like, I remember, I mean, there was a time I had to be like 1920s, and I was so motivated to go hook up with someone that I managed to, I don't even want to say sneak out. I think my mom and brother got into a fight that I probably started.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, no one even noticed me in the background. So I left and I went to go see this person. I mean, like I said, committed. And the second it was done, I mean, I remember that moment just that long ago because I was like, oh, yeah, I don't want to be here.
You had post-nut clarity.
Yes. And it wasn't anything he did. It wasn't anything like that. It was just like, I literally couldn't think clearly. And the second that we were done, I just felt like I need to leave. And
wow.
I mean, that moment was only impacted by the fact that when I tried to make my quick getaway and someone I had dated lived 4 houses down.
Crazy work.
So here I am trying to like
transition,
sneak out of this neighborhood only to find that person ended up walking out, and I pulled I was in the neighborhood. Mind you, this was a cul-de-sac.
So you probably just looked crazy.
I looked crazy, but I
and
just had to get out of there.
She went into his house.
No,
she did. You did. You told me this. Don't lie.
Well, it was a different time, but I was still in that frame.
Dipped.
I was in this frame of mind still that I really just had to get out of there. Like, cause I wasn't in that space anymore.
Yes.
Like, you need that moment of recovery. Just like we talked about men, like you have to get hungry again. Like your chemistry has to change again.
Yeah.
I was still in that space of clarity.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the problem. I'm like, I just need to go. Like
Wow.
the things, I mean, did you ever see Something About Mary?
Yes.
Okay. They talked about that in that movie, and he wasn't supposed to go on his date. And his friend was, I can't remember his friend's name. And he's like, you can't go out with a loaded weapon. Like,
Oh my gosh. That's true though.
with the hair scene.
Yes.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
what that
Oh gosh. Ew.
that was all about. It was crazy.
I really don't think I've experienced post-nut clarity. Well, let me correct myself. In the way that it's normally experienced, I think for women, post-nut clarity happens outside of the bedroom.
I would
It
say
doesn't
that's true.
necessarily have to happen after you hook up. I think that it literally happens when you start to, or when someone reveals their character through their actions. And then eventually you get the ick, or you're just like, what?
That's so
That's
true.
that emotional detachment. And that's how we get it. And that's that relief. It's like Claritin.
It's like clarity. But it can happen. It's small, maybe behaviors.
Yes.
But then when it happens, it is
Yes.
that instant as well, I think.
And that's why, too, I think it's so important for women to, if you have to go back to the same guy over and over and over and over again until you're eventually over him, I am all there for it. Because
We support this.
we support this. Stamp of approval. If
Sometimes you have to learn a lesson 5 or 6 times just to be sure.
you have to, and even like one of my best friends that moved to Tennessee,
Mhm.
when she was right before she had broken up with her boyfriend, I literally told her, I was like, bro, there's no, like, she was reaching that post-nut clarity, and I was like,
know.
if you need to stay with him and go back to him a million more times, do that until
Yep.
the second he texts you, you're like, oh god,
It will happen.
it will
It's
happen.
guaranteed. And I think that's the difference too. It always comes by surprise because
Mhm.
ours isn't that instant like that. The moment is instant, but it usually is kind of cumulative of a lot of behavior.
I remember I asked my dad and boyfriend about post-nut clarity, and if my boyfriend had heard of the term post-nut clarity, and he knew what it meant just because he's younger, truthfully. But I asked my dad, and he had not heard of this term. But then when I explained it, he was like, "Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
like 100%. Like it's so true." But post-nut clarity is the reason a lot of women are getting zombied,
Yes. And I think,
because
again, we just fall into that fog and then we just don't realize what's happening on the other side.
and I think a part of girlhood is delusion.
I
And I'm
know.
guilty of this. And we love delusion sometimes. Being delulu,
It keeps us
it keeps us fun.
It does. And I think that honestly, like, I know I was guilty of it.
Yeah. Of being delusional.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, for sure. Like,
I'm still delusional.
we're very good at creating narratives.
Of course.
don't-
Of course.
don't
And
really exist.
especially in hookup culture, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I have an example of when post-nut clarity hit me. But again, it was outside of the bedroom.
Okay.
And it was with someone I was dating in San Diego.
Okay. Oh,
And this man, I mean, he was gorgeous, like objectively gorgeous,
Okay.
not even subjectively. And perfect teeth, perfect hair, strong, tall, like literally
checks
check,
every-
check, check,
yeah.
check. Also, too, though, like most of the time when we met and we were hanging out, we were drinking. And that's
Oh.
another way that, or another reason I gave up alcohol is because I feel like you're just not having these pure connections with people.
we're already cloudy. We didn't realize how
I was
much
already-
worse
I was
that
like
making
super
it.
cloudy. I
Super.
was super cloudy. But yes, so, and then when we'd hang out and be sober, I was like, oh
Yeah.
my Lanta, I cannot have a conversation with you. You are so boring and dry, which is making me dry up. This is not fun. And then I was like, oh no, sorry, babes. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, and you just made me think of it time. And it's like that too. Like that, I think I was completely delusional. And then even just in a sobering moment, I think that's where, and obviously we're not drinking anymore, but a lot of those delusions and I think cloudy thoughts were definitely fueled by drinking.
Uh-huh.
Oh boy, it was like gas in the tank. But
Yeah.
then just trying to have a conversation with that same person again on paper. I mean, we were talking like literally model, and then I just could not even. I was like, I can't.
I can't.
This is the most painful conversation I could possibly envision. Like,
It's horrible. It's so bad.
see,
But
and if I'd had that clarity, that probably wouldn't have gone even as far as that did.
no, because you probably would have been like, oh gosh.
Yes.
It's the antidote to,
Being, I don't say stupid, but
I know, literally. But post-nut clarity is a crazy concept, and it's something that, just circling back, that more men are experiencing than women. So ladies, do what you have to do.
yeah, seriously.
Do
You got to buy a
you
car,
have
give
to
yourself,
do.
excuse yourself for 10 minutes.
Be like, oh, before I sign this, do you mind if I go to the restroom? Oh, before we get married, you're like at the altar and you're like, wait, I need to. Oh my god.
Make sure this is the right decision.
But it's true. It's so true. And just take shit for how it is.
Yeah.
And that's something that I need to remind myself of constantly.
I just love how, like I said, the fact that you guys are aware and like the way you label it, labels get such a bad rap, but
No, PNC. Put that on a Hallmark.
put it on your bumper sticker.
Put it on a bumper sticker, because look, be delusional, be as delusional as you want, but do not be delusional when it comes to this. If you think or have to question whether a guy likes you, he doesn't.
You know what you need to do. Then you
doesn't.
decide.
Girl, go to the bathroom.
Excuse yourself.
Go to the backseat. Do what you got to do. Excuse yourself.
Well, and I didn't realize even when you had asked Dad, like this is definitely something that is practiced, that we're just like, maybe me, like I would say my age group maybe is just not well executed. So
Probably. So shout out to that friend that I had growing up, because if you take anything out of this episode, it is to literally get your nut on, rub one out, tug one out, do what you got to do before you make an
and then
important
make a good decision.
because it literally affects the hormones and neurotransmitters that are released in your brain. It changes your overall.
It's scientific.
It is scientific. Bill Nye. It's so Bill Nye coded.
This is actually so important.
It is important. So do what you have to do. Take care of you. And then make decisions. And honestly, if you're okay with the outcome that could be the result of post-nut clarity, own it.
That's the right choice.
Refer back to the tips for your 20s episode. Nothing is embarrassing if you own it.
Nope.
Nothing is
We
embarrassing.
love this. It all comes together.
It's
full
always a
circle.
full circle
Yes.
moment. Post-nut clarity and getting zombied, baby. They go hand in hand.
I love this one.
I love this. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I'm Riley.
I'm
And
Anna.
we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.